I am God. I pee nicotine. I haven't been in a job for many years. The last job I had, I worked as a van driver for Hermes, which is now called Evri. It's spelled Evri. Before that, I used to work in IT as a network engineer. I quit that job in 2016. And I would have to, well, I did a lot of things actually, but I was a third line infrastructure engineer, and that involved working in a data center, working with servers, desktops, laptops, all kinds of stuff, Wi-Fi, networking, Cisco switches. I used to work with, what was it, Alcatel Wireless. I used to manage a Alcatel wireless system. Alcatel's based on Aruba technology. It was old technology. I never had any formal training on any of it. I taught myself Cisco networking, and I basically tried to figure out what I was doing with all this other stuff. I worked with people who weren't very helpful, to be quite honest. Most of them weren't helpful. I used to configure things. I would configure switches and configure wireless access points, configure computers, configure server connections in the data center to switches, and making sure things are machines are getting their IP addresses, and that they've got the right access permissions to the network. They're on the correct virtual LAN, the VLAN, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Configure. Well, it's a very interesting thing, isn't it? Because the last video I made last night, I called it the fig urine tree. And when I made that video, I had no idea I was going to be making this video. I've figured this out. So the thing is that I smoke cigarettes. And because I smoke cigarettes, that means nicotine, it gets into my body and it is excreted. It is excreted in my urine, my pee, my piss, or you might call it wee. So this is the thing. When I go to the toilet, I pee, and out comes, it's full of, my urine is full of nicotine. Why is that important? Because it's a magic thing. Because computers use NIC. That's spelled N-I-C. It stands for Network Interface Card. And most computers these days, they have the network interface card built into the motherboard of the computer. But it varies depending on what's being used. It could be a smartphone. Smartphones are slightly different. But yeah, most network interface cards are built into the motherboard of a computer, and sometimes, you know, even, well, and quite often it's nowadays the wireless network interface card as well. So so it's an interesting name, isn't it? Motherboard. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I worked in IT, and you know, that kind of thing, that bores my dead mum. Yeah. But you know, she's the one who's fighting me with this magic. So my dead mum, her name was Fee, which is short for Fiona. And so, you know, there's the fig tree. And I told you, you know, I worked in IT. I used to configure things, you know, config. So this all connects with the fig tree idea, okay? Because fig obviously has my dead mum's name in it, right? Fee. Also, you know, it connects with the word Fiji. And obviously there's a brand of water called Fiji, and it's, you know, it's bottled water. You know, I'm the fountain of living waters. And the internet, technology has been weaponized against me in order to try to steal my identity. Because the thing is, you know, IP version 4 is, you know, that's been around since I think 1983. Or something like that. And then, you know, that what's happening with IP version 4 version 4 is a magic number. And I'll explain to you why. I've already explained it in lots of other videos, but I'll do it again just so you're aware of what I'm saying. Okay? So, the Emperor, he's number 4. Okay? Now, I have a cousin called Andrew, and he is married to a woman called Eva. But her name is actually spelled Iva. It's spelled I-V-A. She's Bulgarian, and she's cool. People call her Eva. Yeah, maybe they should call her Iva or whatever, right? But anyways, her name is spelled I-V-A. And Andrew, well, who was he? He was King David, mentioned in the Old Testament, and he was Adam. Yeah, he was Adam. And he's married a woman called Eva. Now, you might know that IP version 4 is slowly being phased out, and IP version 6 is now being used in conjunction with IP version 4. So, you know, most computers now use a combination of IP version 4 and IP version 6 to connect to the internet. And so if I were to look at the number 6 card, if I was to look at the number 6 card, here it is. Okay. It's the Lover's card. And as you can clearly see, it depicts Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You could see behind Eve there is a snake in a tree. Okay, and that's called the Lover's card. Now here's another interesting card. This is called the 6 of Cups. Cups is to do with water. And this is the main, there aren't really any other cards that show children in the tarot deck. This is the Rider-Waite tarot deck. It's the most popular tarot deck. And as you can see, this depicts children. And this is to do with love and emotion. That's important. Because, you know, there's a problem in this world with child sex traffickers. So, I mean, this is the thing. My mum, who's dead, that's, that, what type of spirit did she have? An evil spirit. That's what she was. She was a demon. And, what kind of person was she? Well, I think she's the kind of demon that would target young children. Yeah. And the thing is that the world is very, should I say, confused? See, the world seems to think that God is a pedophile. But that's an interesting thing, right? Because, I am P do, right? People, a pedophile, a lot of people would say, oh, pedo. Well, that's the thing. I pee. I do pee. I pee do. Yeah? I'm the fountain of living waters. My pee, my urine, my piss, my wee. Strange word that, isn't it? Wee. It's not yours, it's mine. Right? I control it. Right? It comes from my body. That's my fountain. It's my magic fountain. But this is why, people talk about the people, the rich, powerful people who rule the world, secret societies, Freemasons, and they're involved with, they seem to be involved with sex trafficking and child sex trafficking. And rituals involving children. So it's interesting about the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because let me just hold on. Yeah. So the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it was the serpent who tempted Eve, right? And obviously the serpent is, also called the dragon. Yeah? And obviously a dragon breathes fire. Right? Well, that's how dragons are depicted these days. It doesn't say that in the Bible. That I'm not aware it talks about the dragon breathing fire, but people depict dragons, they have wings and they fly and they breathe fire. And yeah, the thing, I've told you about my cousin Andrew, who was Adam from the Garden of Eden story. He was King David as well, strangely. And then there was his mum, who's my aunt. She's called Christine. Yeah, Christine Neal. Yeah. So, nicotine and Christine, you notice how they sound, they have the same ending. Teen. Yeah. That's another, they rely on these things to attack me. To try to steal from me. So what else did I want to talk about here? So this is the thing, right? Because people who are on the internet, YouTube, or maybe, TikTok, anywhere on the internet, right? Well, the thing is that my urine is my fountain of living water. But I pee nicotine. And so, because everyone's connecting to the internet with network interface cards, I mean, that's pretty much how, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has to connect to the internet. All devices that connect to the internet have some type of network interface, right? Nick is the, is the common way of calling it, right? And then there's, but it's also worth noting that in Greek mythology, there is a name which is Nyx. So Nyx, Greek mythology, that's spelled N-Y-X. So what does it say here? Obviously Nyx is a false goddess. Okay, that's what she, it's rubbish. But this is the story. I'll read you the story, okay? It says here, Nyx is the Greek goddess of the night and one of the primordial deities born from chaos. She is often depicted as a powerful figure who brings darkness and is the mother of various personifications, including Hypnos, sleep, and Thanatos, death. So, there's a lot of magic happening. And I'm simply pointing out how I'm connected to it all. I mean, obviously you would say that, oh, well, there are lots of people who have nicotine in their urine because other people take nicotine as well. Well, I'm God. I'm the fountain of living waters. You're not. The entire internet is totally obsessed with trying to steal what is mine. They haven't earned it. They're just constantly trying to steal it like it's theirs. I've spoken about this a lot. The world reflects me. That's the thing. And the other thing, maybe I should quickly point this out in this video, but my dead mom, her name was Fee. Okay, did you ever remember hearing the stories about FEMA, which is the it's called the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and so that's like that's the United States Disaster Response Agency, part of Department of Homeland Security in the United States of America. And obviously, well, that's the thing. My mom her name was Fee. She was my ma. All these conspiracy theorists were talking about, there was Alex Jones and InfoWars. They were talking about FEMA camps. They saw, FEMA opened all these, these big camps for holding people, and they talk about, they've got like thousands and thousands and thousands of coffins and stuff like that, and people were talking about Gucci guillotines and all sorts of stuff like that. Okay, well, the thing is, my mom was a lesbian. She used to hang around camp people, right? Camp guys, right? FEMA camp, yeah. And this is connected with Freemasonry, Freemasons, yeah, because fee is in the word free, and then it's ma, which means mum, And son, well, that's the thing. I'm her biological son. I'm the creator. I'm God. I simply entered into this world through a woman called Fiona. 2,000 years ago, I entered into this world through a woman called Mary. Mary and Fiona, both evil. Very evil, with very evil intentions. All they're interested in doing is they want to lie about me, they want to try to steal from me, they're trying to prevent me succeeding. But they won't prevent me from succeeding. I'm God. So, Let me think. Another thing I can mention is that obviously when there have been times in my life when I've peed on trees. The word upon? Up on? Upon? That's spelled U-P-O-N, which is, you pee on. You pee on. So I've peed on lots of different things in my life. What have I peed on? I've peed on trees, I've peed in bushes, I've peed in toilets, obviously. I suppose when I was a kid I probably peed in a potty. Peed in nappies, I've peed in my pants, probably as well. What have I peed? I've peed on brick walls, I've peed on pavements, I've peed on cars. I've peed off buildings. I once went up a fire escape to the top of a building and pissed off the top of it. When I was a teenager. I was really drunk. I've peed on all kinds of stuff. I once pissed between my cousin's legs, actually. When I was a little kid. My cousin Andrew, the one I said who was King David and Adam from the Garden of Eden. What had happened was he had a broken leg and he was sitting on the toilet and I was really desperate for a pee. So what I did was I said, "I'm really sorry, Andrew," and I just pulled it out and I peed between his legs and he started crying. He was like, "Bah." Yeah, I did some strange things when I was a kid, but hey, that's why got to tell the story. So, I don't want to, I don't care what you think of me. I mean, I was a little kid. Why should you worry? Why should you care? Anyway, all I'm doing is I'm telling the truth because truth is important. It's an interesting thing because in the tarot deck, the 15th and 16th card are connected with P. Because P is the 16th letter of the alphabet. So if we look at the corresponding number in the major arcana of the tarot deck, we'll see some interesting things, won't we? So let's should we have a look then, shall we? Yes. Yes. So I mean, there's quite a few cards it connects with, really. I mean, because obviously Pisces is a zodiac sign. It's the 12th zodiac sign, and it's very similar to the word pisses, which means to pee. And maybe I'll mention this now quickly. I am fish. Yeah, I am fish. I'm not an actual fish, but you know, when I was younger, I went fishing. Yeah. You know, fish is a verb. It can be a verb, is right? I am going to fish for my dinner. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's correct. Anyway. Obviously, I haven't been fishing in a very, very, very long time. So let me have a look at these cards. We've got number 7, which is the Chariot, because 1 plus 6 is 7. And so, I mean, that's the thing, because there's the Fool card, which is number 0. So let me find that. Where is that? Hang on. Okay, there's the Tower card. And then we have here's the Fool card. Ooh, where's the Devil card? That's the one I'm looking for. Wherever that is. Oh, here it is. Okay. Alright. So the Major Arcana. It starts off with the Fool card, which is number 0. Obviously, 0 means nothing, doesn't it? So really, you could count this as number 1, because it is the first card of the Major Arcana. And the thing is that obviously the card that comes after the Fool is the Magician, but he's numbered number 1, even though technically he's the second card. Okay? So, the 16th, if you include the Fool in the count, you'll get to number 15. This is actually the 16th card. This is the Devil card, which is also, you know, it's a Capricorn card. For instance, if you were born on the 25th of December, which is what people like to believe, they like to think that Jesus Christ was born on the 25th of December, because they celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on the 25th of December. Well, that's Capricorn. That would be, someone born on the 25th of December would be a Capricorn zodiac sign, which would mean Jesus would be associated with the Devil card in that case. I can tell you one thing though, my cousin Andrew, he was born on the 6th of January. He is a Capricorn. And Aaliyah Dana Houghton, who was, who people call the Virgin Mary, even though she's definitely not a virgin. Aaliyah Dana Houghton, who died in the plane crash on August 25th, 2001, she was born on the 16th of January, which makes her a Capricorn. And I think you'll also find John Piper, the Pastor John Piper from Desiring God, which, it's on YouTube. He's a Capricorn as well. So this is the 16th card. This is the one, you could call it's number 17, but it's numbered number 16. And it is the Tower. It's the Tower of Destruction. It represents the phallus. It represents the phallus of destruction. Because it's shaped like a phallus, or penis. Yeah? You know, it's a very interesting word, penis, isn't it? The word pen is in penis. Pen is. Yeah, you know what a pen is, right? It's something you write with. Excuse me. So, you know, when I pee, well, pee is 16. Or you could say it's 7. You could say it's 7 because 1 plus 6 is 7. And this is card number 7. Hold on. Well, if you include the Fool, because this is card number 6, which is the Lover's card. Adam and Eve. Yeah, there's the snake in the tree. Yeah, so this is, you know, if you count the Fool, which these people are, that's what they are, aren't they? Adam and Eve, they were fools. They were told not to do something, and they did it anyway. That would make them fools, wouldn't it? So, if you count the Fool card plus, you know, 6, you know that gets you to 7. Okay, so this is the 7th card of the Major Arcana, and the Chariot. You know, this is, you know, the Chariot is labeled number 7. You could say it's the 8th card as well, if you include the Fool. The Chariot represents transport. It represents moving forward. It also it also means the bed. Okay, because it means, you know, it's, you know, you notice how it looks like bedposts behind him. Yeah, and there's these sphinxes at the front. You know, this is a sex magic card. Vehicles are used for sex magic purposes. You know, when you go to bed, you feel tired, don't you? When you go to bed, you feel tired. Well, guess what cars have on them? They have tires on them. Yeah, you noticed that? You know, if you want to go for a ride, you get in a car or a bike. You get on a bike, or you get in a lorry, or you get in a plane, right? Or a boat. Yeah, you can travel on a boat as well. A boat has a motor. I suppose boat is, you know, it's a form of transport. Isn't it interesting how people like to argue about trans people in sports? Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because transport. You know, it's all to do with the Chariot magic, sex magic, amongst other things, right? But that's basically what it's all about. Trying to steal power from me. So, why am I talking about it? Well, I talk about it because if I expose it, I break spells. You know, the world wants to keep me hidden, but I have to talk about it in order to become, you know, they can't hide me when I expose them. That's the thing. I expose their dirty secrets. I expose their evil magic that they do. Okay? So, you know, I mean, you know, what does a car have? It has a speedometer, right? You know, if I get in my car, I have a Jaguar F-Type R. Top speed 186 miles per hour. If I look at the speedometer, right, P is in the word speed, isn't it? And you could say pedo is in the word speedometer, right? Because it's speedo or pedo. You know, speedo. What are speedos? Well, you know, if you go to a swimming pool, you might see someone wearing speedos. You know, a man in his speedos or something. You know, it's a company, isn't it? It's a brand of swimwear. You know, what were their intentions when they decided to call it Speedo? You know, what were their? Do you think maybe they had bad intentions? Perhaps. Yeah, maybe. Probably. Yeah. Anyway. I mean, that's generally how the world goes anyway, right? The world has evil intentions. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to make this video about, I'm trying to keep what I'm saying relevant to the video title, which is I am God, I am God, I pee nicotine. Okay? And how I magically connected to network interface cards and the internet, and the fact that IP version 4, you know, that is designed to hide my identity because I'm the Emperor, which is number 4 of the Magic Tarot card deck. The Emperor, he's the authority figure. Yeah? I'm the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. The Emperor is very relevant to me. You know, there are the 4 elements. There are 4 kings, there are 4 queens, there are 4 knights, there are 4 pages. You know, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 4 living creatures, Revelation chapter 4. And let's not forget, you know, forgiveness. You know, the 4 gospels. Yeah? Father, 4 gospels give them. 4 gospels, they do not know what they are doing. Yeah? Already did a video on that one. So, you know, people wonder why I'm such a heavy smoker. Grant, why do you smoke so much? Why don't you quit smoking? Yeah? Why is that? Well, there's a magic battle happening. It's that simple. So I'll finish this. I'm still thinking what I'm going to do for my next video. Should I end it here? Okay. I'll upload this video and then I'll make another one.